Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are in the world, and welcome to today's webinar. I'm Anna Trineri, Senior Digital Marketing Manager at Acumatica, and I'll be your moderator today. Just a few announcements before we begin. Today's presentation, as well as additional resources, can be found by clicking on the Resources tab in your viewing console. If you have any questions about the content of this session, please enter them in the Q&A box, again, in your viewing console. We will get to as many questions as we can at the end of the presentation. If you experience any technical difficulties, please type your issue into the technical support area, and we will be glad to offer you some one-on-one assistance. And lastly, this webinar will be available on demand after this event at acumatica.com, so do visit us and look under the Webinars tab to see this and other presentations from Acumatica. And now on to our presentation.
Great, thank you, Anna.
Increase Ecommerce Success with ERP, presented by Acumatica, the cloud ERP.
Great, thank you, Anna. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. We're very excited to talk with you about this topic of e-commerce and ERP. My name is Josh Fisher. I'm the Senior Product Manager of the Commerce Edition here at Acumatica. I've been with Acumatica for about a year now, but before joining Acumatica, I spent about 7 years working in the B2B e-commerce space. And before B2B e-commerce entered my life, I spent a lot of time, over a decade, building out websites with digital agencies. These are large-scale websites with national brands. So this concept of selling online, it's been something that's been with me for well over a decade, going on 2 decades now. It's a topic I'm very passionate about, and I'm very excited to talk with you about it today. With me is Sachin Wadhawan from BigCommerce. I'll let Sachin introduce himself.
Thanks, Josh, and hello, everyone. My name is Sachin Wadhawan. I'm Director of Technology Partnerships at BigCommerce. Very excited to be here at this webinar. Thank you, Josh, for having us. Like Josh, I've spent a lot of my career in enterprise SaaS applications. At BigCommerce, I manage both our B2B and back office and ERP portfolios from a partnership standpoint. So very excited to have Acumatica as our key partner, and looking forward to presenting some of the insights that we are seeing from a BigCommerce perspective in the webinar today.
Great. So today we're going to be talking about e-commerce and ERP, but before we dive into the topic, let's just look at some statistics together. You know, it may be interesting to you to hear why e-commerce is an interest of Acumatica. Why are we investing in it so much? And if you look at the statistics, like here we're looking at statistics about retail e-commerce sales in the United States. So these are B2B, or I'm sorry, B2C, or business to consumer e-commerce sales in the US. And if you look at 2019, we're looking at over $500 billion in e-commerce sales. And obviously these numbers continue to grow year after year. If you dig into this a little bit, you'll see that there's about an 8% increase year after year with B2C e-commerce. If we look at B2B e-commerce, again in the United States, in 2019, they're forecasting over $1 trillion in e-commerce sales. And what's really interesting about this, you'll see that same 8% growth year after year, but slowly increasing year after year. So there seems to be an acceleration in businesses adopting web technology. It's very exciting to see that, especially for me. I've been watching it for many years now. Additionally, again, if we look at 2019, 12% of B2B sales are now happening online. That's quite a bit. Now, and the other thing to keep in mind too is that not all businesses have adopted new web technology. It's not uncommon at all for me to meet a manufacturer or distributor that doesn't even have a website, let alone some web-based application where they can sell online. So because of those details, it seems to me that we're definitely in the infancy stages of this topic. Businesses are going to continue to adopt web technology not just as a sales portal or not just as a place where their customers can place orders, but as a sales tool and as a communication tool for their customers. And that's really important to think about your e-commerce platform as more than just a sales portal, but also as an engagement tool to engage with your customers. So really, if we look at all these statistics, what are they telling us? E-commerce is not only here to stay, it's continuing to grow. It's going to grow and evolve over the next decade. In 10 years from now, I'm sure we are all going to be using devices that we haven't even dreamt up yet, right? I'm sure that this will continue just as we in our personal lives are so accustomed to making purchases online. It's just going to continue with our business life as well. So with that acceleration, it's very important not only for technology companies like ours to make sure that solutions exist for companies, but it's also very important for all businesses to consider how web technology fits into their sales process. So why do you think it is that e-commerce has taken off the way that it has? And I think it really comes back to the customer experience. Like the customer experience with a B2C website or that consumer making their purchase online, it's something that we can all relate to. It's something that's very easy. And I think we can all sit on the couch with our tablet or our iPhone and Netflix is playing in the background and we're browsing through products on our phone. Maybe we're buying gifts for our family, or maybe we're looking at auto parts for that car repair that we need to do. We've all become accustomed to that experience, and it's great. We love it. It's great to read through other customer reviews or to use some of the features that have been developed over time. And those B2C features, the things that we've become accustomed to, like the omni-channel experience and being able to use coupons and discounts online, those kinds of things, when we go to our day job, we expect or desire those same abilities with our business life, right? And it's just now starting to creep, really in the last 5 years, it's just now, those topics are just now starting to creep into the B2B world. And business professionals are now attempting to use those tools to make purchases for their day jobs. Now, in the B2B world, right? Everything in the B2C world seems to apply pretty well to the B2B world, but in the B2B world, things are a little bit different. Things like customer-specific pricing becomes important. Making purchases on behalf of your company and having record of all those company purchases throughout the past, those kinds of things become very important. So that's what I always go back to. Whenever I'm talking with prospects and they ask, why is this important? Why should we be selling online? It's because your customer wants it. It's because it's very important to them to engage with you in that way. They want to be sitting on the couch watching Netflix and flipping through their tablet and reading about your products. Even if you're selling machinery for a warehouse, today we can buy cars online. There's no reason why machinery for a warehouse can't be sold online as well. People want to be reading about those products, downloading materials and watching videos. So with that in mind, what does it take in order to be successful at selling online? If your business, whether you're B2B or you're B2C, what is it going to take for you to have a successful business online and for you to scale that business and grow? Well, it really comes down to two fundamental things, and everything else builds on top of this, but there's two fundamental things that you need. The first is that you need a very robust e-commerce platform, preferably with an open API. If you don't know what that is, that's fine. We'll talk about it in a minute. But you really need a robust e-commerce platform. You know, we've asked BigCommerce to join us today. I've been working with e-commerce platforms for years. I've worked with many of them. BigCommerce, in my mind, stands out as one of the best, if not the best, e-commerce platform that's available today for both B2C and B2B sellers. And you really need a tool like that in your tool set. It's very flexible. Sachin will tell you more about it in a minute, but that's definitely a requirement, right? And the other thing that you need is a commerce-enabled ERP. Now, if you're familiar with the ERP, maybe you're not. The ERP stands for Enterprise Resource Planning. These Enterprise Resource Planning systems, they've been around for decades. They've been around since the 70s, right? And these systems are used by not very large businesses, but bigger businesses to make their business much more efficient. It helps with internal communications. It helps with keeping all of your business data in one place. Has a lot of benefits we'll talk about in a second. But when I say a commerce-enabled ERP, what I mean is that you need a modern ERP that includes many features that will support you when selling online. There's a lot of things that are very specific to commerce that you need inside that ERP. Okay, so we go back to that ERP topic. When we look at ERP, an ERP system, it's a software system that includes many modules that support different activities throughout the business. So it could be inventory management, accounting, warehouse management, customer relationship management. All those different verticals get supported within the ERP. And what I'm suggesting is that you also, these days, you need an ERP that supports the ability to sell online. You need a commerce module in addition to all those other modules. An example is with a typical ERP, you may have inventory of 1,000 products. You could have 400,000 products, right? But your inventory is just going to be a long list of products with SKUs, titles, prices, and all the other information that's in there. But it's just that. It's just a big grid of all your products. However, when we're shopping online, products look a little bit different to us. For example, if you're buying a t-shirt, you may be on a website and you're looking at a t-shirt, and that t-shirt, to you, it's one product. It's one design, right? But in reality, that product comes in a variety of sizes and a variety of colors. So altogether, there could be 12 or they could be 20 different SKUs, right? Now, you want to present those 20 different SKUs in a very specific way. You want them to all be on one page, and you want to show that product with the variants on that one page. But an ERP naturally is not going to configure products in that manner. It doesn't think about products with variants. So you have to have features in the ERP that will support you through developing those products in a way that they'll render the way that you want them to on the product pages, okay? And in our instance, obviously Acumatica is the ERP, and we have a native integration to BigCommerce. That means that with Acumatica's Commerce Edition, we include everything you need to connect to BigCommerce right out of the box. There's no third-party software or anything. You essentially drop in your API keys into the ERP, you build that connection to BigCommerce, and all of a sudden data is flowing back and forth. And it's a lot of data. I only show a small list here of products, customer information, inventory information. Those are just examples, but it's a very long list of data that will flow back and forth. And the data is in real time and it's bi-directional. So for instance, in your ERP, you may have product information, and that product information will push out to BigCommerce to display on product pages. Whenever you're on the website, you add those products to your cart and you make a purchase, that purchase is going to flow back into the ERP as a sales order. All that's happening in real time. And that connectivity is what's going to help make your business that much more efficient. Okay, so I hope that helps you understand a commerce-enabled ERP. I'm going to hand it over to Sachin so he can talk a little bit more about the robust e-commerce platform.
That's fantastic. Thanks, Josh. And totally agree. We're living in this world where B2C and B2B universes are merging. There's a lot to learn from both sides of the business models, and certainly the technology enables and facilitates that. And as a result, the importance of how the online experiences merge with back office and ERP and synchronize the data and the experience that's synchronized becomes even more critical. For those of you that don't know much about BigCommerce, let me just give you a quick introduction to who is BigCommerce. BigCommerce is the world's leading SaaS e-commerce platform designed for businesses at all stages. Either you are just starting out online or you are an established business doing most of your revenue through online channels, as well as covering both B2C and B2B. We're one of the only e-commerce SaaS platforms that can handle both B2C and B2B on the same platform. There are two key aspects of our technology that combine the true value of software as a service and openness of the platform. So software as a service, which is also in industry seen as SaaS, brings you the value of ease of deployment, right? So you don't have to spin up servers. It's fully hosted. Once you have your store created, you log in and manage your store. User-friendly controls, which becomes really important. Many businesses don't want to have big developer teams to manage their online presence. They can empower marketers and commerce experts within their teams to manage their e-commerce aspects of their online store. Also, site performance and security becomes really important when you have potentially buyers and shoppers from all around the world being able to purchase your products through your online store. And then what's also really critical that SaaS offers, software as a service offers, is the lower total cost of ownership. So you're not investing a lot up front, and then you're getting automatic updates. So you don't really have to be in the business of managing IT for your store. You are focusing on managing your e-commerce presence. But then SaaS in general has tendencies to be restricted, and this is where the openness of a SaaS platform comes into play, where B2B businesses especially are very unique, right? And even on the B2C businesses, each business needs their own unique requirements for how they want the online shopping, the online experience to be done. So being able to have flexibility in customization, being able to have robust APIs. APIs are what enable BigCommerce and Acumatica to work together, as well as a curated app ecosystem. So if your e-commerce platform, like BigCommerce, doesn't have native features for what you're looking for, you can simply go to the app marketplace and download that capability. So let's go a little bit deeper into what does openness mean in a SaaS platform. So we coin ourselves as open SaaS platform, right? Combining the value of both the SaaS and the openness. When you look at this visual, this tells you what BigCommerce is in one diagram. Everything that you see in blue is the core e-commerce capabilities that we offer. So this is how we complement Acumatica is we manage everything that you would need to transact online, right? Either in a B2C or B2B model. The top of this diagram represents the openness in the front-end user experience. Again, for the B2B buyers, that could be as simple as I just want to log in, so I don't want product and pricing of my catalog displayed to anybody in the world. So when they come to my store, they have to be logged in an authorized buyer to buy from me. For B2C, it could be, depending on my profile, you want to show me different products and different prices, etc. And then on the bottom of this diagram is how your open e-commerce platform should integrate with other applications that are in play. With Acumatica, a lot of these boxes are already checked in terms of ERP, order management, warehouse management. But if there are other applications in play, BigCommerce can integrate and have a bidirectional integration with those applications as well. On the left side of this diagram, real quick, you'll see the ability to implement an omni-channel strategy, which again, if you're new to online, to the digital transformation, you want to make sure that your product is available wherever your shoppers and your buyers want to buy, either on Amazon, eBay, or even social channels like Facebook, Instagram, and Pinterest. So for many businesses, when they think about their e-commerce presence, design and the user experience is very prominent, and it should be, right? You want to make sure that the experience is similar to if you have brick and mortar stores. It mimics the experience that those customers would have if they walked into the store. So requirements around theme customization comes up fairly often. Checkout customization. So again, for both B2B and B2C, this is very critical, and it's a big differentiator for BigCommerce is what happens after somebody has browse through the products and now they're ready to pay for it. Maybe there are different payment requirements that you have for B2B, like net terms, et cetera, that you want to implement. And of course, mobile optimization is very critical. We all should be thinking about mobile first, because as consumers and as users, many people start their journey on their mobile device, especially when it comes to e-commerce. And then if you drill a little bit deeper into the capabilities of e-commerce and the features of e-commerce platform that become really important as you start to grow your business online, advanced things like scalable catalog, right? So if you're only selling, 50 products today, and now you have this huge audience of online buyers, how do you go from those 50 to 500 products? And does your e-commerce platform able to handle that, right? Advanced shipping and tax calculation, as well as refunds and returns come into play. So again, these are some of the capabilities that you should expect from your e-commerce platform that, again, integrates effectively with your ERP. So with that, Josh, pass it back on to you.
Great, thank you. Okay, so now that you have a basic understanding of ERP and a robust e-commerce platform, let's talk about some of the challenges that businesses face when they come to us to learn about this solution. And really, if Sachin and I had time, I'm sure that off the cuff, both of us could probably rattle off 12 or maybe even 20 different challenges that we hear time and time again. But I want to talk about some of the challenges that I hear the most often. The first is inventory management. Whether you're a small business that's been selling online for a very long time and you're beginning to have inventory management problems, I hear that a lot. Or maybe you are a very large business and maybe a distributor or a manufacturer, you have a ton of products and you've never sold online. And it makes you very nervous to start taking orders online because it feels a little bit out of your control. When you have a salesperson that's signing off on these purchases, you have control over your inventory. But when a website is taking orders, you worry a little bit about things like overselling and back orders and topics like that. In both of those instances, we've focused heavily on building a solution that can solve those challenges. So if you're a small business, I'm sure there's people on the call today that have started an online business. It's been small and they've grown it over the years. They hit the $1 million mark and then they hit the $5 million mark, and they've been able to find technology that will support them through that growth. But you eventually get to a point where inventory starts to feel out of control. You just don't have your numbers together, and you can't pass those numbers on to your e-commerce platform the way that you want to, and you can't find solutions to help you do that. That's where an ERP comes in handy. Acumatica is built with warehouse management tools, inventory management tools. It can handle multiple warehouses. It can even handle inventory within specific locations within the warehouse. And all of that information is exposed to the REST API and can apply to the website. And in addition to that, you can configure the website to handle that information however you see fit. So let's say, for instance, that it's very important to you when you run out of inventory that you take no more sales. In that case, when inventory hits zero, you can configure the system so that the page just disappears. The page won't be available to buyers. There's other businesses that are the opposite. They want to take orders no matter what. So even if their inventory gets to zero, they're happy taking back orders. And you can do just that. You can configure the system. And when I say it's configurations, it's literally just clicking buttons and setting up the configurations. You don't need a developer. There's no special effort that goes into it. Another challenge that we hear often from both B2C and B2B sellers is that they need multiple payment options. It may not be obvious in the B2C world what that means, but it is in the B2B world. As you know, if you're selling to other businesses, you're going to have things like net 30 terms or COD terms, and you want to be able to pass those payment options on to your customer online. With commerce, BigCommerce is one of the very few e-commerce platforms that will allow you to submit an order with other payment options than just credit cards. Of course, the site owner configures whatever is appropriate for their business, But with BigCommerce, you're able to accept orders with a credit card payment, with net 30 terms, COD. You can allow purchases, and then the customer comes and picks up the order at the store or at the warehouse. And all of those things are important for B2B organizations. Now, if we jump into B2C, that last example fits with the B2C model as well. You can make a purchase online and go pick it up at the store. Maybe you're just placing an order online and you're actually going to pick it up and pay for it at the store. And with new technology, now there's solutions like Affirm that will allow customers to place orders online, but then pay in monthly payments. For instance, if we look at the slide here, in this example, the person is buying a $1,500 camera. Maybe they don't want to pay the $1,500 up front. A solution like Affirm, which will integrate with BigCommerce and all the information will flow into the ERP. In that case, the customer maybe pays $25 a month until the camera is paid off. You're able to offer those kinds of solutions to your customers. It makes customers easier. It makes the life of the customers easier. It makes it easier for them to buy from you. And when you offer those kinds of solutions, you develop a positive reputation and your customers start telling other customers. Those are the kinds of things that you want to think about. Now, for the last example, I'll pass it off to Sachin. He talks about this really, really well.
Yeah, I think merchandising is a good challenge that really kind of pushes the limits on the importance of ERP and e-commerce talking together. Because when you think about merchandising, the concepts you are implementing is when I make a change about a product or add a new product or add a discount in my ERP, how is that product becomes sellable and how quickly that becomes sellable, and what is how the customer experience and the buying experience changes in near real time. So being able to really have that strong integration and strong sync between your e-commerce and ERP enables you to do advanced merchandising. And as we all know, in online world, businesses can react more quickly to market demands. They can also do more experimentation, maybe try out certain discounts with certain audiences. To be able to do all of that, you have to make sure that your ERP and your e-commerce are talking regularly, talking frequently, and have a strong connection.